Hey everybody, Master Mom Amanda Olson here. It is 11 a.m. on Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time. And we are talking today, we're going through the Parenting Survival Guide here, which is a book I wrote last year in 2020. It was published at the beginning of the year. And today we are going to go over the chapter, let's see which chapter number it is, chapter number 11, which is called laziness. How do you deal with that with your child? What are you going to do about it? And correct that behavior, because it can be extremely annoying when they won't do what they're supposed to do, and they have no other reason not to be getting it done than that they were just lazy about that. All right, so we're going to talk about that. And then also yesterday on the Daytime Tri-Cities show, I went over a question that a parent had sent in about, what do you do when your child says they're bored? How do you handle that? What's the best thing to do? And again, on the show, you've got such a limited time. I really only was able to give one response to that. I'll go over that, but I have some other tips on how to handle that as well. Pearl is with me today, so if she jumps around on here, that'll be all right. She's playing over in the corner for the moment. So laziness and boredom, sometimes that can go hand in hand. I like to think of, if somebody is bored, it's that they're lazy in their mind. Their creativity isn't sparked. They're not trying to, whether it's entertain themselves or educate themselves or just find something to do to be happy, just to have fun, that sort of thing. The thing to remember when a child says, I'm bored, like I mentioned on the show yesterday, what they're really saying to you is, I'm lazy and I want you to entertain me. So when we think of it as parents in that respect, if your child looked at you and said, Mom, I'm lazy and I want you to entertain me, you'd be like, that's not my job. And do it yourself. But when they say I'm bored, sometimes as parents, we feel like, oh, my kid's bored. I've got to provide something for them to do. I don't know why sometimes we feel like that, but this is the case. But we should not feel like that. However, maybe your child is having difficulty with creativity, or they are just being mentally lazy and they do want you to entertain them. What we want to do is kind of what I do in my martial arts class. If you're having a discipline problem, it's not a discipline problem, it's a your structure isn't right problem. Create a structure where there are no discipline problems. So if you have a child who is continually kind of bored and being in that mindset and wanting you to entertain them, take the time to set some structure up. Make a list of all the things that they really enjoy doing or that they can do. It doesn't have to be, chores or anything. We'll get to that in a minute. But things that they can do when they have that sense of, I don't know what to do, or, I'm bored. Give them something that they can go to, a go-to list. So instead of you having to, every time they say that, you have to say, well, you could do this or you could do that. And you've got to stop everything that you're doing and give them this list of things that they can do. Create that list together, actually write it out, however your child likes things, whether it's on a tablet, they have their list in the notes, or it's a poster board or a calendar. Well, however your child enjoys, communicating that way, make that list of things they can do. A couple of suggestions are cooking, depending on their age, or just, mixing up ingredients or something, or maybe just, having fun in the kitchen, creating something, and, making a mess isn't the worst thing in the world. All right. A child being creative with cooking and things like that, that's a good thing. There's art projects, craft projects, there's reading, of course, there's, watching a movie. Sometimes it's completely appropriate for kids to sit down and watch a movie. It's not a bad thing. And then there's outside time. There's all kinds of lists of toys that maybe maybe you keep away for times when they're bored, a special toy or something like that, or a set of blocks for the little kids, things that they can go to and say, okay, I don't know what to do. Here's my list. And you can have 15, whoop, sorry, here comes Pearl, 15 to 20 things on there that they can go choose from. So when they come to you and go, I'm bored, you say, well, go to your list, find some of those things that you want to do. And then they become responsible. They become in charge of their own entertainment, their own creativity. And it's nice for them to have a choice too. They have a list of things that they can choose from that they want to do. Now, if they continue with that, boredom, excuse, they want you to sit and entertain them, then there's other things that you can do as well. Most of the time, if they feel like, well, I've got some free time, I don't know what to do, but we created this list and here's all these activities I can do, which one do I want to do? And they're in control of that. They usually do pretty good with that. And then they actually, feel like, okay, I know what to do. And as they get older and older, they will realize that they are in charge of their own entertainment, if you will, their own happiness, because being bored and lack of stimulus, we've all sat in an office somewhere, doctor's office or whatever, or waiting in line, or car repairs, anything like that, and we're just like, when is this going to get over? And we have had to have that boredom time in our mind. We can learn how to create things to do for ourselves. Well, let me read this magazine, or I brought some work with me, or I'm just going to take some downtime and scroll through social media on my phone and relax a little bit. But you're not just sitting there looking at the person next to you going, hey, I'm bored. Will you entertain me? Or maybe you do strike up a conversation, but not necessarily saying that you're bored. Will you entertain me? But you just have that conversation of, the doctor's office is not usually, hey, what are you in for? But I don't know, it could be interesting. I don't recommend saying that. But when you can kind of learn as a child to be in charge of your own happiness, entertainment, productivity, that's going to carry on as they get older. The opposite is also true. If every time the child feels like I'm not being entertained, I'm bored, and you run to the rescue every time, they're never going to learn how to entertain themselves, and they're going to expect it to be everybody else's job. I was at the martial arts studio the other day, and a couple of little guys were waiting on someone to finish class before they could go home. And they came up to me in the office and they're like, we're bored. Well, these are kids that are old enough, one, to formulate in their mind, I'm bored. But why they thought it was my job to entertain them because they were bored, I don't know. I immediately, of course, put them straight to work. So, I just, if you come to me in the office and say you're bored, I'm going to give you some work to do. I think they enjoyed that a little bit. So I don't mind if they come and say, do you have anything that I can help you with? That's a different thing than to just come and say, I'm bored. So they start getting a little bit of a mindset shift that I'm not there to entertain them. If they would like to help me with something, I can probably find something for them to do. So the same thing is true with your child. I remember as a kid, I learned very quickly, and I don't remember any specific moment or instance or anything like that. I do remember I knew better than to go to my parents on a Saturday afternoon and say I'm bored, because assuredly I would have some sort of manual labor to do, or tedious cleaning task, or something much more boring than what I could come up with on my own to do. I don't remember being bored very often, but I do remember not thinking it would be right to go tell my parents that I was bored. So make sure you set that precedent. Have some tough jobs for them to do, and let them learn quickly that if you can't entertain yourselves when I'm not available to, be with you at the moment, and you can't find something constructive and fun to do on your own, I've got some weeds that need to be pulled. I've got a floor that needs to be swept. I've got garbage that needs to be taken out. I've got any number of household chores, of things that need to be done. And and they can either entertain themselves at that point, or they need to do the chore. So remember, you're the boss, you're the CEO, you're in charge of your family. You can make kids do household chores. And I guarantee you, a couple of times of that, they're not going to come to you with "I'm bored." And that's part of the thing with the helping them understand with that list of things that they can do, how to go through that list and be creative on their own. And maybe they think of something else. Well, maybe I could combine listening to music with an art project, and that would be fun. I can listen to this podcast or this YouTube channel that I like, and also do this activity at the same time. So they can learn how to do that. And that is so important for their creative time and their mind, and learning how to occupy themselves. And it's a sense of creative thinking in that respect. To sit and not know what to do and feel like somebody should be reading to you, or somebody should be playing with you, or somebody should be entertaining you all the time, that's not up to you as a person, even if you're 7. That starts going into a little bit of the entitlement type attitude, like the world revolves around me, I'm not happy right now, someone cater to me. When you say it like that, you're like, I don't want a kid like that. But in that moment of you're busy doing something that you need to be doing, and your kid comes up and says, "I'm bored," you're not necessarily thinking that way. You're either thinking one of two things: I'm annoyed for you interrupting me, or, oh my gosh, I'm responsible, my child's bored, I need to do something. And neither one of those really is the case. You just need to direct them and say, remember your list of things that you can do. Once you pick something off there, I'll be done with this in a half hour, and then we can do something. You want them to be able to do that on their own at any age, Some of the younger kids, like the preschoolers and, kindergarten, that sort of thing, maybe you have stations set up in your house that are safe places, so a toy box in the living room, or a computer station that's, super child friendly, a bookshelf with all kinds of books or coloring activities, things like that. You have those stations kind of set up in your house for the younger kids, so that they learn that there's activity centers that they can go to, just like they have in preschool and kindergarten. They have activity centers, and sometimes they have free time to choose what they want to do. So when they're bored or they don't know what to do, you can make sure that they know that they can go to any of those little activity centers and play until you're free to join them. So a couple of things, let's recap about the "I'm bored." Pre-frame, set a list of things that they can do when they're bored, and that they have complete permission from you to do, and they know how to do on their own. You can have that ready for them, list it out, make sure it's somewhere clear that they can see, and they know that they can choose to do any of those things. Eventually, and very quickly, actually, they'll learn not to come to you to say "I'm bored," but they'll go to that activity list and realize there's things that they can do. And they can continue to add to it too. "Oh, I thought of this fun thing that I could do," and they can add to their list. The other thing is, you can give them a chore to do and make it, look, if you're going to say you're bored, then my job is not to entertain you. If you're bored and you need something to do, I have this job that needs to get done, and you can do that. Most of the time, they'll go to their list on their own and find something fun to do. Or take a nap, and that's okay too. And then for your younger kids, set up some activity stations around the house in different rooms, especially, if you need to keep your eye on them all the time, make sure it's a place in the kitchen. Sometimes I would let the kids, when they were little, there was a cabinet in the kitchen where there was all pots and pans and wooden spoons and things like that that they could just kind of play in while I was cooking, and they could sit on the kitchen floor and play with that and entertain themselves while I got dinner ready. So you can set those things up all around your house if you need to keep an eye on them. Something in your bedroom, even, a little bookshelf or something when you're trying to clean your room or get dressed ready for the day. Something that they can do in there to occupy their mind and keep themselves entertained and not rely on you or the rest of the world to entertain them. So that is just a little bit extra on when your kid says, I'm bored. And then in terms of your child, if they're being lazy, it's the same sort of thing. Have things set up for them that they are supposed to do, whether it's a daily chore list of things that need to get done. Working on cultivating a culture of team in the family. An example of this, I was thinking about when I was a kid. I lived in Florida. We grew up in Florida, and we would go boating just about every weekend that it was possible, to be out on the water on the Gulf of Mexico, and scalloping, fishing, crabbing, swimming, snorkeling, laying on the beach, all the stuff that you can do out there. We were out there doing it. And depending on, what activity we wanted to do that day, the night before, I remember getting things ready for that, making sure we had all the nets or the bait, of course, your snacks and your lunch and your food. And if you get out, getting all that together the night before so that you could get up early in the morning and just get up and go. And then, of course, have a great time. And then when you get home, everybody in the family participating in putting the stuff away, cleaning the boat, making sure everything was, back where it was supposed to be so that you could enjoy the same activity next weekend. But it's that sense of everybody has their job to do, and it was fulfilling for me to be part of the family and be part of getting things ready, of enjoying time together, and then all of us working together to put the boat back and everything where it needed to be so we could easily do it next weekend. And that's something that I learned as, growing up doing that, was that, if I plan ahead a little bit, if I do a little prep work the night before, that makes the activity or the day easier, more fun, that sort of thing. So I, obviously still in my work life and my career, I am planning and thinking ahead and trying to do things ahead of time. And sometimes I'll work too far ahead and surprise myself that it's already done. And it's like, oh, I did do that, so it's always better to, at least for me, it causes less stress for me when things are prepared and I don't have to spend, like this webinar, for instance, I am ready for it. I'm mentally prepared. I've, gotten material ready. I knew what I was going to talk about today, and just making sure that all that was prepared ahead of time, at a time where I had downtime, like in the evening or a couple of mornings, the past few mornings, just making some notes, that sort of thing. So when I get a chance to talk to you guys about it, I do have my thoughts ready to go. And it's just a matter of being ahead a little bit in a little bit of prep work. But when you're teaching your child about being lazy, or not being lazy, in other words, you can also be teaching them about how a little bit of work ahead of time can make things easier. And start with that. Start with a family activity. If you have a vacation coming up or a fun day planned on a Saturday or Sunday, let's get some stuff ready tonight. And start incorporating that a little at a time, and let them start to see on their own what they can do. Oh, I always do this to get us ready for that, and that's my job. It can really build a lot of pride, and then family teamwork too. So I hope that was helpful today, guys. Please remember, if you like what we talked about today, if it was helpful to you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, if you have other tips, because I'm sure parents would enjoy reading those. And, I don't have all the answers, I know. So if you have other tips about, kids being lazy or kids being bored, what you do, please put those in the comments, and don't forget to share. I really appreciate your time. I know your time is valuable. So if you take some time to listen to these parenting tips, I really do appreciate it. All right, Master Mom, and that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.